Welcome back to Pro Wrestling Throwdown for the week of March 7th, 2021. I'm Caleb Black. This is Luke the Big Dog Williams, our in-studio producer, the mighty Max Fury, and it's time for the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view post-show review, daddy. As you know, we have a contest going up until the week, the final match of WrestleMania. The winner gets to choose a punishment for the loser. We go on the points for the matches we call correctly. I was dragging by 1 point due to a technicality. But now the tides have changed. Not only did I get the overall point for the show, but I called every single match correctly. However, because Luke is a gentleman, I too will extend gentleman's courtesy and not abuse the extra point rule. So now we are tied at 15-15 with Maximilian. Still got his 2 to give away. Let's recap the event.
A giant 2. Just a ridiculously big 2.
Let's recap the event.
Bar.
Jey Uso, Daniel Bryan, Cesaro, Kevin Owens, Sami Zayn, and King Corbin competed in the Elimination Chamber for a shot at Roman Reigns' SmackDown World Heavyweight Championship. Daniel Bryan, as I predicted, won.
And you know what? For the match that it was actually a really fantastic Elimination Chamber match for the shitty result to follow.
And I'll tell you, Cesaro stole the fucking show.
Man's a beast.
Absolutely. That guy, the fact that he's not world champion or hasn't been world champion
is a shame.
Is one of just the it's an injustice.
Yeah.
It's definitely a travesty. It's a travesty. Max, you selected Jey Uso to win that match. Luke, you chose Cesaro. I went with Daniel Bryan. Daniel Bryan did in fact win. We all then selected Roman Reigns to defend successfully the World Heavyweight title. He did.
I wish I'd have got that point on an actual wrestling match.
Yeah, in a glaring heel fashion, Roman Reigns wins. Then we go to the United States triple threat match, which was changed.
Yes.
Originally, it was scheduled to be Keith Lee versus Riddle versus the defending champion Bobby Lashley. But Keith Lee was pulled from the match. He was replaced with John Morrison. Max furloughed his point to John Morrison. I kept my pick with Riddle. You kept your pick with Lashley. Riddle wins. So I sneak up behind you with that point as well. Riddle walks out U.S. champ.
He has a great armbar.
He does have a great armbar.
He does. Fantastic.
Shayna and Nia defend the women's tag team titles against Sasha Banks and Bianca Belair. We all went with Shayna and Nia. We all won that match.
Was not a big surprise.
That was the worst match on the card.
Yeah.
It was the shits.
It was like watching two flies fuck.
And
seriously, it had about as much charisma as watching two flies fuck.
I really thought Bianca and Sasha were going to have a better showing as a tag team.
Well, here's the deal. What they did wasn't bad. It was Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler stumbling over each other the whole match.
Yeah, and Nia Jax was just out of place.
Horrible.
And
as always, that wasn't really anything out of the ordinary for Nia Jax.
No.
And I know that we talk a lot about how not very good Nia Jax is, but there have been periods, go back and watch our videos, where we talk very glowingly about what they do with Nia if what she does in the ring is complementary to her size and her ability and her style.
She hasn't been good in months. No.
This last few months, she's just been off kilter. And I don't know if it's just I don't know if her footwork's weird because of the hip surgeries. I don't know if maybe she's not as conditioned as she was, but man, letdown after letdown after letdown.
And here's the deal. As much as you can say, the double knee surgery that she did and this, that, and the other.
Surgery, that's right.
Shayna Baszler has no excuse.
Yeah.
And Shayna Baszler has also been off about a half a peg.
Yeah.
It was good at first when you had the two monster heels during the tag run the first time. Putting the titles back on them does nothing for me, does nothing for character development because now they're stumbling all over each other. There's no credible challengers for the tag team championships in the women's division unless you go to NXT. It's the only way that that's going to be viable. It's really, really piss poor booking for both women, even though she's fucking it up, and she is.
Yeah.
The booking for these two women, they could be so monstrous in singles runs. Mm-hmm. Shayna Baszler not being the Raw Women's Champion right now is a travesty.
I agree. Well, she should have been
last
champion last year at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And for whatever, Vince decided to pull the heat from underneath her, and that's a shame because technically She's the best technical women's wrestler in the company.
For sure.
Like, there's nobody better. I will say,
well, I mean, only one I could think of that would be close to being Natty.
she's close, but I think even then because she's got it's the legitimacy, it's the mixed martial arts background.
Right.
Her movements are that much more crisp, and it's just and again too, you have to remember build wise, Shayna's a little smaller,
Right.
so her movements can be a little bit more fluid.
I really, really think that a lot of her problem is not her. I think she doesn't know how to work these other women that aren't at her actual legitimate
like
level.
she's too far ahead, so she's got to slow herself down.
Yes, good point, Max. Yeah, for sure, brother. Yeah, and it's
that was always a Ken Shamrock problem too. Yeah, Shamrock was such a good striker and a good mat wrestler, but he didn't know how to work with the guys who had no fucking.
100%.
Right, you come in to the wrestling that's
pulling strikes and pulling punches. Sorry, folks, breaking the third wall. But pulling punches and pulling kicks and stuff, once you've been conditioned to literally hit and kick people to make money, to make your living, and then jump to a sport where things are supposed to be pulled and you're not supposed to really try to kill the other person and things like that, predetermined, as we like to say. We don't use the F word here. That's not a word we use. But it's hard. It would have to be hard to get in the ring and look eye to eye with you, and it'd be like ding, ding, ding. You hear that fucking bell, and all of a sudden you're like, I'm going to kill this person.
Then
you get to thinking,
shot that you know that you can legitimately knock him out in one hit, and
but you don't.
Not.
Yeah. You're like you said that Ken Shamrock, Dan Severn, had a problem. That's why he never got the credit that he deserved in pro wrestling, is because you just can't. It's a different beast.
It's a totally different animal.
Where are we at now?
We get to our main event, the Raw World Title Elimination Chamber match. Jeff Hardy versus Kofi Kingston versus Sheamus versus AJ Styles versus Randy Orton versus Drew McIntyre for the world title. Luke, myself, and Max all selected Drew McIntyre to retain. However, we did put a caveat bet on it. Luke, your bet was that if there was an attempt on a cash-in, but it does not work, you would get an extra point. Max, if he successfully cashes in and loses, you got a point. If there was no cash-in at all, I got a point. However, he successfully cashed in and won. The Miz isn't it? Well,
then that gave Max the point.
Yeah.
Correct? Yeah.
But The Miz was WWE champion for a night. But because this is backdated, we're going to go ahead and tell you now. Bobby Lashley won the following night on Raw. We talked about that on the last videos we shot, about how Bobby Lashley needed to be world champion.
They're watching.
They listened to us. However,
hold on. You said they're listening to us.
Yeah.
All
right. Caleb, come in here. Come close. Send us money.
Send us money.
Send us money for production value. yeah. Send us all your monies.
Yes.
But no, you're correct. You had mentioned that you thought that it would be a good idea, you and Max both. We thought that it wouldn't be quite this soon.
Yeah.
Because, Mania usually, but between Rumble and Mania, titles usually don't change hands. Yeah. Now, I'm going to shut up a bunch of marks here and say, all you people who are like, The Miz is not a credible champion.
You're out of your mind.
The Miz is this, The Miz is that. The Miz was the perfect person to drop the title to Bobby Lashley because the way that The Miz does things is even if he lost the title, he's still going to get the heat. He's going to come out, he's going to say, I had a stomach ache.
Yep.
You guys, I wrestled him again. I got counted out.
Yeah.
And you made me wrestle 3 times in one night. He's not going to lose any steam over it. It was the perfect decision. He goes to Mania. Bad Bunny and Morrison.
Bad Bunny, yeah.
Hey, Bobby Lashley, congratulations. You are only the 3rd
African-American WWE World Heavyweight Champion.
And congratulations to you, sir.
However, that means that I got my 2 points. We are now tied up 15-15. We are tied up going into Fastlane, which is the one pay-per-view before both nights of WrestleMania. So, folks, Fastlane is going to be the pay-per-view. If we call any matches differently, those points are going
to matter.
This ain't Whose Line Is It Anyway.
This ain't that.
Points matter out here.
Of course, what's going to happen is you called all of the Elimination Chamber. I called everything on the Rumble.
We'll both call
Max is going to kick our ass at
Fastlane, right. All right, guys. Well, thank you so much. Let us know what you thought about the Elimination Chamber pay-per-view post-show review. by finding us on Facebook at facebook.com/Pro Wrestling Throwdown. Follow us on Twitter at Pro Wrestling TD. Send us an email at ProWrestlingThrowdown@gmail.com. Like, subscribe, leave us a comment down below. Don't forget to tell your friends about us and stay tuned because guess what? It's time for a pay-per-view pre-show review coming up with AEW's Revolution.
Non-point.
Non-point.